I'd like to call this regular April board meeting to order, please. Town Clerk Nick Greer, would you please take roll call?
You're back.
Present.
Ron Dyson. Here. Caitlin Muscasky. Here. Frank Seneca.
Here.
Steve Churchill.
Here. Okay. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have no petitioners signed up this evening. Is there any person in attendance, privilege of the floor, would like to address the board?
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor.
I guess there would be a yes, huh?
That's a yes, please.
There's a microphone over there if you'd like to use that.
Just a handout here. Just went to the boxes of everybody in So this went to the, this is our annual neighbor notes about our upcoming and current construction and what we pretty much have going on for the year. It's part of our permit requirement to notify our neighbors, and we grant that out to pretty much everybody in Seneca Falls and Waterloo. So again, we've got, we're finishing up some cell construction. We've upgraded our leachate treatment system to further treat leachate on site, trucking from hauling leachate off site. We've got a bunch of landfill gas construction scheduled to continue to extract the gas out of the current areas that we're putting horizontal collectors in. And we're always continually updating our odor control systems as well. So the valley infill is proceeding with DEC comments. We had the last round of comments that we received from the DEC. We're going through those and analyzing them now. Hope to have them back to them end of this month, continuing that process. Got a couple upcoming events. The second Saturday in May is our annual mulch giveaway day. It'll be advertised. All county residents come in and get a little bit of mulch, pretty up their homes, and make things look nice now that, knock on wood, hopefully spring's finally here. So we also have our annual open house scheduled for July 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. Open to the public to come and tour the landfill, meet our teams, ask questions, and hopefully get a better understanding of what goes on behind the quote-unquote curtain over there. So again, always have the open door policy for tours and having anybody come in that wants to see and hear and understand what's going on anytime. But just wanted to present this to the board, and if anybody else needs copies that didn't get it in the mail, happy to make sure they get it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kyle. Okay, any other privilege of the board? Very good. Have a motion to approve the minutes of public meeting on March 1st, 2022.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Communications, were in your packets. We have 5 major communications deposits totaling over $5 million from a variety of revenue sources. A letter from the state of New York stating that local law 1 has been received and filed in the office, minutes of the planning board, minutes of the zoning board, and news from the Cedar Lake Watershed Network. Pat, old business? Old business is new business, or new business is old business?
Business is business. So
I don't have much to add here other than I've delivered all the documents to the buyer's attorney before the last meeting. I've reached out to them a couple times during the past month. I haven't gotten much of a response. So I don't know if anything's changed or if it's just, or if we've just missed each other. I don't know where, I don't have any news since the last.
There's no low-hanging fruit on our end. Everything is taken care of.
As far as I know, I delivered a packet in anticipation of a closing before the last meeting, and we did have some back and forth as far as that generated some questions. I was able to provide some further documentation about the condominium and the ownership of the remainder of the building, which I shared an email with you on that. But otherwise, I have not had any communication since then.
Okay. Ball's in the report then. Okay. Everyone's received their reports from the different departments. Is there any questions for department heads that is not explained in the report?
I don't know that I received one from Water and Sewer. Did you get one from you, Joe? Yeah. All right. I might have just missed it in the email.
You just sent it to Nikki? I thought you sent it out to everybody. You should send it out to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought, I don't know if I got it, be honest with you. I did see it, but I don't know. Maybe, I think I saw it during the committee report.
But I think I sent it just to Nikki.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, moving forward, send it to all 5 board members and Nikki, okay?
So I would approve all of them but Joe's.
Right. Well, we don't have to approve them, but
No,
I don't, Nikki, you don't have a copy here with you, do you?
Oh, no.
right.
I'll get it to you after that one.
Yeah, just email. I mean, if I just do one in the email.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions for MRB? You received from Matt the grant writing overview, I should say. And any questions for Peter? You received B&L's report. Peter, a lot going on, I know. Anything all good?
Yeah, I got one to talk about later tonight on some of the bids we saw, but so we move forward with that.
All right, very good. I have some updates for everyone. I try to do this on a monthly basis to kind of bring people up to date, types of things. First of all, we made application with the DEC to be part of an assessment management program. It's a pilot program. 50 municipalities will be selected to participate in the pilot program at no cost to the town. We made application with the assistance of Peter, so our application is in, and I'll keep you posted on if we are one of the 50 chosen. Then, as I said, basically the town, we have an asset management program set up at no expense to us. All of the major shut-off valve work is completed on Fall Street and State Street. We still have some more work to do by our crew. This is the work by the contractors. So I want to thank Jim and the Highway Department for helping out Joe and the Water and Sewer Department. They collaborated helping out the contractor Villager to get this done as quickly as possible. The one thing left would be paving the very large sections of the road that have concrete in it now. That will have to be paved once the facility opens up. The smaller stuff, we're working, Water and Sewer and Highway working together to do some of the smaller stuff. The bigger stuff we'll most likely have to farm out. Okay. Joe, anything to add there?
Just that we're probably going to be well over on our asphalting budget and gravel and stuff for all the water main breaks we got. And also, we're probably going to have to either do something with the ones on Fall Street together, or our contractor that we have we'll have to figure it out.
Yep, my guess is that probably going to be a little bit too big for us, but we'll figure it out. And if we have to allocate more money, obviously, it has to be done. The water meter replacement project is moving along. There's a resolution under new business to accept appoint the engineer for the project. The next step will be we will put out RFPs for contractors to bid on the water meter replacement project. So that's moving. My goal is to get that project done in 2022. Hopefully that's going to happen. We had 3 people apply for the town manager position, and one person applied that did not meet the deadline. I have been vetting the 3 applicants. All 3 applicants, I believe, are not good fit for Seneca Falls for one reason or another. The major reason is 3 of them have arrangements, closure arrangements with former employees. The one late applicant I'm still working on, and I believe that most likely I will be putting this back out, reposting the position. We're not going to fill the position just for the sake of having a body here. It's got to be the right fit, and I really don't think of the 4 they're the right fit. Type of thing. So, but still working on that, and I'll keep you posted. Started working with a NYSERDA representative, NMRB, Rhonda, and myself to move Seneca Falls to become a clean energy community based on the new Climate Act of New York State. Communities need to get 70% of their electricity from renewable sources by 2030, 100% of their electricity by renewable sources from 2040. And there are 2 resolutions in your packet tonight to get us started in the Clean Energy Program 2.0. This is the second round of the Clean Energy Community funding. Basically, it'll be providing funding to the town for a variety of things, energy studies. We changed over to LED lighting last year. That's a major, it's based on point system, so that gave us points there. We're working on talking to some EV vendors to put charging stations throughout the community. Would be on municipal property. These charging stations would be like on the north side of Fall Street in the parking lot, maybe out at Vince's Park, maybe some at the community center, et cetera, et cetera. But working to get that paid for at no charge to the town through different grants that are a great deal of money is available for this clean energy movement that is happening throughout the state and the country. So working on that type of thing to move that forward, and then at some point, how many X amount of chargers we would have, we would become a place that people would go to an app and say, who are traveling, where is the closest charging station and how much do you charge? And they come into Seneca Falls, and maybe they'll sit down and have a hamburger or play around the golf or whatever type of thing, but it's an opportunity to bring people to Seneca Falls, and also as more and more of our community members go to electric vehicles, it provides them as an option also. Working on that as well. We are now a vendor, the town of Seneca Falls is a vendor for a program called New York State Low Income Household Water Assistance Program. Basically based on factors of income, household size, and amount of money that you may owe the water and sewer department. You can make application, and if you qualify, then people would be provided the funds to pay off their water and sewer bill initially, and then the second part of the program is to pay for water and sewer bills moving forward. Okay, so again, it's based on those factors: income, household size, and initially any money that you owe up front. Okay, so this is just us being a vendor allows people to participate in that program. Then the New York State makes direct payment to the town of Seneca Falls electronically, and that's our only role. So the money is coming from New York State versus the individual resident type of thing. So we will be putting that on the website. I'm working in conjunction with the county Office of Aging and Human Resources to provide people any help filling out their application to make use. But I would encourage people to take a look at that, and it's another option. We're helping people out in our community.
Mike, will they get the application online as well?
The application will be online, and they will be able to pick it up at the county as well as soon as I get it. As soon as I get the application. Caitlin and myself met for a second time with SMI personnel. We continue to work on major issues of odor control, odor reporting, permitting, traffic control, and garbage collection throughout the town. So we have not scheduled another meeting, but we met again this past couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, one of our employees was in a serious car accident. Kim Rose, who works in our assessor's office and in the zoning office about 6 months out of the year, coming to work last Monday, was in a head-on collision. The good news is she's okay, but she's banged up pretty much. So I have authorized our zoning officer, Peter Pacelli, to be working 40 hours a week in her absence, because starting April 1st, she was supposed to be working 4 hours in the zoning office and 4 hours in the assessor's office. So we do it by season, because this is the time where she's out in the field checking on permits and people not putting garbage out that they're not supposed to be doing, et cetera, et cetera. So in her absence, until she returns, Peter will be working 40 hours instead of the 30 normal. Okay. Peter, while I have you would you explain to people what happens when the violation process and how that works? So there's a codes violation. Can you explain to people the process that you have to go through for the codes violations?
So I would send out a notice of alleged violation, or I could go right to the first notice of violation. If I send out the alleged notice of violation, they have 7 days to respond. If they don't respond within the 7 days, I'll send out the first violation, and I usually give them about a week to respond to that, and then if they don't respond to that within 7 days, I'll send out the second one, and then another 7 days, and then we proceed with taking it to court.
Then it goes to the court?
Yes, then it goes to the court.
Okay. So it is a process sometimes. I know people get frustrated. I get frustrated when I see different properties in the community that need attention, and it's very frustrating, but it's a process. In that violation process, just an update on some of the violations of the Cayuga Nation and the Cayuga Nation Enterprise. 2133 Lake Road, that is selling marijuana out of a shed that they never got a permit for, is in violation of our codes. They have not responded to our violations. Their attorney sent Peter and our attorney another letter saying this has been their position all along. They don't have to follow the codes. So stick your violation in your ear and move on. So we will now turn that over to the courts, and the town court will have to make a decision on where that goes. Okay? 126 East Barrett Street, they are in the process, hopefully, of applying for a special use permit, which would go through the Zoning Board of Appeals, and they have picked up the application. Whether they submit it, they did. Okay, so they've submitted the application, and that'll go now in front of the Zoning Board, and the Zoning Board of Appeals will make that decision whether to grant them a special use variance or not. So we're doing our due diligence as much as we possibly can.
Right. So what you're saying is they're picking and choosing which laws they want to adhere to.
2133 Lake Road
They don't have to.
is not owned by the Cayuga Nation. Okay? They are owned by the Cayuga Nation Enterprise, which is basically the opposition group to Clint to Clint, okay? So, yes.
Yeah.
Pat, you're gonna,
Just that, thanks for the overview, but it's actually worse than that, in that the 2133, you mentioned the name on the deed. You do all of these violations, you start with who owns the property. They're responsible for the property, and we deal with this when you have, you know, if the tenant, you'll say the tenant is parking between the sidewalk and the street, which you can't do. That's the landlord's responsibility to ensure that their property is you know, up to code. Cayuga Nation Enterprise is, well, I cannot find any indication that this is an entity that actually exists in any real way under the laws of the state of New York. So that complicates things in that, you know, if it was at your house, I'd serve papers on you. But if we're dealing with an entity that doesn't necessarily exist, that's creates its own set of challenges.
I'm not a lawyer, but, you know my position. I don't care who owns it. And if we can't find a physical body who owns it, then the person living in there gets the violation and.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is that we talk about as being, you know, the Cayuga Nation and whatnot. This is a separate group that is not the Cayuga Nation. There's a name on the deed with the name Cayuga in it. However, it is not owned by the Cayuga Nation. That's all.
Dan, did you have a question?
Yeah, real quick, sorry to interrupt. How do you or I, if we see a violation, proceed to, well, we should bring it to the code enforcement person's attention, but what's the procedure?
If you think there's a violation, or you're driving around town and you think it's a violation or something, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I would email the zoning officer and say, who you are, and could you check out, 7 Seneca Lane, here's where I live. Check it out. That's what I would do.
Your police looks okay.
Well, I'm just hypothetical.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've only mowed the lawn twice so far, so I'm a little bit behind. That's what I would do. But again, people think that just because somebody's house is not painted, that's a violation. It's kind of within our codes. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be within our codes that the issue is.
So you had email and
P. Purcelli at SenecaFalls.com.
okay.
All right.
Or sfzoning at senecafalls.com.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's all I have. All right, new business. We have some special events here that can I have a motion to approve the special events, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Second. Thank you. Everybody has those. Any questions for Missy on the special event? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Carried. Request for budgeted contribution, Deer Town Board. This is from Seneca Falls Historical Society. The Seneca Falls Historical Society does respectfully request the release of $7,000 allocated funds as per the budget of 2022.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Wonderful Life is requesting their allocated monies from the 2022 budget of $28,000. Have a motion to pay that, please?
$4,000.
$10,000.
They were just.
I'm sorry, 4,000,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you.
I make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yeah, wait a minute. That doesn't seem like very much enough. That's what the budget. Oh, that's what.
Do you want to get more?
Okay, all right, I'm good.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. I've had a request from the Seneca Falls Parents Group representing the seniors they would like to continue the tradition of putting the senior pictures down Fall Street around graduation time. It's happened in the last couple of years. It started really with COVID, and it's continued. Everybody thinks it's a wonderful idea, and it makes the parents very proud, makes me very proud as a community member. Anybody have any issues with this? I don't think we need to take a vote. Everything's good to go there. Okay. I will let them know that it's a go.
Hard to believe class size is down to 77.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign engineering contract with the MRV Group for the town's water meter replacement project. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls was awarded a Green Innovation Grant Program for $1.285 million. Seneca Falls sent out requests for proposals for engineering services, whereas the town received 3 proposals. All 3 proposals were from reputable engineering firms, and the lowest bid was from MRV Group for $14,300. Have a motion for that, please?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on this? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This will now allow us to put together the RFP based on water meter specifications and so forth, to sign off on everything, and then, as I said, hopefully we can move forward.
What happened to Steve Van Kirk?
We gotta go back to E.
E,
Yeah, Steve.
appoint Steve Van Ford, member of assessment review. There.
I didn't have it.
Yep, okay. Can I have a motion to reappoint Steve Van Kirk, board member of assessment review?
So moved.
And second? Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Can I have a motion to enter into an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Seneca Falls and Seneca Falls School District for the school resource officer agreement? Can I have a motion for that,
Make a
please?
motion.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. This continues our relationship with the school district. It's a very worthwhile program, both from the school's position and from the town's position. We enter into this agreement every year. If you have any questions, Stu would be a much better person to ask than me. Any questions for Stu on this program? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Have a resolution here. Annual payment for the economic developer's position from the Seneca Falls Development Corp. Authorize a 3% salary increase for the Seneca Falls Development Corporation's economic developer's position. Whereas the Seneca Falls Development Corporation is an entity of the town. Town of Seneca Falls' budget is $52,891 for the salary. The second Seneca Falls Board approves a 3% increase for all town employees in 2022.
I make a motion that we give them 3%.
Okay, can I have a second for that, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion or
Yeah,
questions?
this is an unbudgeted item, correct? That's kind of what
The
this-
3% raise?
Yes.
Yes.
And they
And
are,
excuse me, I'm sorry, by mistake, because we historically I say the last 2 years, whatever town employees received in a pay increase, we provided them with the same increase.
we have,
Yes.
so there is precedence for doing this.
Yeah. I think it comes out to about $1,500, if I'm not mistaken.
And what do we get from these folks? I mean, is there a report that we,
Yeah. Greg Zallers is our Seneca Falls Development Corporation director. He had provided a report in last month's packet. I sent out an email asking if you people wanted anybody, if you wanted them to come in person. But his report in last month's packet was an overview of what he's been doing for the past year to
a lot
promote that.
of empty storefronts downtown?
You're right. And it's an ongoing problem. And Caitlin sits on the board now with myself. Doug Avery is still on the board. Greg Zallers on the board. Jerry Goodnow is on the board. Jessica Senecropi is on the board.
Christine Van Dusen.
Who?
Christine Van Dusen.
Yep, and Kristen Grillone. Last month we started talking about providing some no interest loans as an enticement to people to open up some businesses, a revolving loan fund type of thing. Geneva does something of the nature, Ithaca does something, working in collaboration with some banks, and it might be allocating some revenue from the town type of thing, but something we're just exploring at the moment. But, you're right, there's way too many empty stores, and they keep, that's his focus for this year, is to see how we can build downtown up as much as possible. Okay, any other questions or discussion? All in favor of the 3% increase, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Resolution here, annual payment to the Seneca Falls Development Corporation, authorize the annual payment to Seneca Falls Development, whereas Seneca Falls Development is an entity of the town of Seneca Falls has budgeted $52,000. The town board approved a 3% increase. Now it's approved payment of $54,447.73 from budget item A6989.40. Can I have a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. This is more of an FYI, but I will certainly put it up for a vote if you think it's necessary. I have changed brokers, insurance brokers, to Advanced Business Consulting, LLC. Brokers are brokers, okay? They provide a service to the town. They provide our employees the different options for insurance. They are to, they provide different services and supplementals insurance, et cetera, et cetera. We've been engaged with a broker for about 10 years. That Bev had a very close relationship with this broker. Sarah and myself, we had some reservations, and the town supervisor is the administrator of the insurance program according to our town handbook. It's changing of brokers is not costing the town any additional money. It's 4%, no matter if it's this one or that one. It's just flat 4% fee type of thing. We've had some, communication issues. I've had communication issues with this person. Many of our employees feel that she does not explain very well what's going on, and they are sometimes very confused about what insurance they should be using. So therefore, I made the decision to move us to a different broker. And in addition, this broker currently is a broker for our AFLAC program for our employees. He's also a property owner in Seneca Falls, does not live in Seneca Falls, but owns multiple properties in Seneca Falls, so he's a taxpayer as well. But that's not the major reason. The major reason is Sarah and I work very closely with this person, and it's a very, very difficult situation sometimes. Sarah can explain some things in more detail if you have any questions for her. I think you all received an email from the former broker. I reached out to her when I initially did this, and she was out of town. I encouraged her that I told her I was leaving town last week, but I would be back in town Monday, and I'd be more than happy to sit down with her and have a discussion. And she never responded to my email. And then she sent everyone the email that you all received. And part of my problem, I think if you can understand where I'm coming from, there's a part of that email that was completely unprofessional, unethical, completely inappropriate. And I'm not going to mention that part of the email in public, but I think if you hopefully were appalled as I was that she made those claims in an email, which are completely unfounded, completely. She has no facts, and that just solidified my position on some of the issues that we've had with this person.
So what was the selection process for insurance broker to Advanced Business Consulting?
No process. We do business with this person with the AFLAC program, and that was it. That's all right.
And we're
In
happy with it.
previous years, we did look into the consortium, and we did ask previous years for our previous broker to give us more options, and they were never presented to us. These were the only options that she would give us. The consortium would have been way too expensive for us to go into. I've listened to the employees and what they want, what they feel they deserve, and how much they should pay. And the new broker is coming up with more options for us rather than just 3 insurance policies. I can sit down and speak with you further on some of the things that we currently have that I've looked into farther, that they're not legit, they're not supposed to be happening, but they are.
Well, my concern isn't so much with, I mean, if we have a problem with the person we've had up till now, I have a problem moving on, but I'm just wondering if we, you know, what the due diligence was in the selection process of a new vendor.
Yeah, we did look into other ones before Mike came on board, with Greg Lazaro. There was a meeting up at the county for the consortium. We did, like I said, we looked into other options with our broker that we had for 10 years, and it was just always pushed away. This is what is best, and never even gave the employees an option to see what else was out there. We've only ever
No, I
been
understand
offered
it.
What other brokers were?
I understand that.
Well, the consortium is a
But,
part of the
and we should
brokers.
have somebody that gives us the best service possible. I mean, I agree, but
Well,
I'm just wondering how we came up with this. I don't know who this is already, but.
Other than the fact that this person has been with the town
Right.
for the AFLAC program,
For a long time.
and most people were very happy with his service. Again, there's no money here. It's not like a competitive bid where this person's going to charge this, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of who you feel comfortable working with, and it's the service they provide.
So it's the familiarity with this particular person is my understanding.
Pardon?
The familiarity with this particular person. Okay.
You familiar with any of these insurance brokers?
Yeah, this guy is the AFLAC guy for the county too. Was there when I was even the personnel county. So,
He handles a lot of big corporations, so like municipalities, schools, that type of stuff, so he's handled a lot of the bigger businesses like that.
Okay. I'm going to defer to the attorney for the town. Would you feel more comfortable if we voted on this?
Well, I reviewed the employee handbook on this question, and as stated there, you are you're providing the benefits. So, you know, the code gives it to you, and as you said, under our procurement policy, it's not necessarily a competitive thing. It's really built into the expense of the benefits themselves. And it's, money-wise, it's apples and apples. So as the administrator of the benefits, it really is the supervisor's call. However, there's nothing wrong with putting it to a vote if you want to do that, but I don't believe it's required.
Now that's a really good
Exactly.
legal opinion. They always cover their bases.
That's what we do.
With that,
No, I'm fine with
you're good?
it. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, thanks. All right, I have a motion or a resolution here to authorize senior account clerk Sarah Wright and account clerk Heather Robson to attend town finance school. The Association of Town is offering classes May 16th and 17th in Albany. Whereas Sarah and Heather would greatly benefit from the training to better complete their job
I'll make
responsibility.
a motion that we send them to the finance school.
I have a second for that. Thank you. Any questions or concerns? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. On the day of the 17th, we will publicize, actually the 16th and 17th, no, 17th is a Saturday, right? Sarah? I think one day the office is going to be closed, I think, right?
I think the 16th and the 17th, the 2 days that the training is, will be closed. So I think it's a Monday and a Tuesday. We'll go up Monday night
Okay.
because class starts at 8 a.m.
Anyway, we'll make sure that's out there so the public can know that. Okay.
Say Sunday.
Resolution is whereas the town board has passed the resolution modifying the 2022 budget, whereas in these transactions, adjustments to the budget are needed, whereas the Office of State Comptroller feels the attached entries would best facilitate the board's desire. Now therefore be resolved, the town of Seneca Falls is hereby allow the budget modifications as attached. These are the different things in January that we allocated, going from town manager's position, storm drain work, new equipment, new camera, auditing of the finances, et cetera, roof on the, part of the roof on the camera truck, I'm sorry, and roof repair at the community center. So this is just moving the money from where it was in savings to the specific line item accounts. Okay. So, can I have a motion for this, please?
Make a motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, landfill revenue to sewer, about 3/4 the way down. Ken,
Yes.
you know, some folks, this is, the landfill revenue should come into the town's coffers and be distributed equally, to the benefit of all the town citizens. Folks that don't have sewer, that live outside the old village, do not benefit from that. So that $53,000 is targeted for a specific subset of the population of this town. I don't think it should be in there. It should, these monies should benefit all of the citizens of the town, or should be, no, it just should benefit all the citizens of the town. That's why sewer districts and water districts pay for themselves. They're supposed to be, the taxes are laid separately for the maintenance, construction, care, the care of water and sewer district. That's where you get
Sarah, do you remember what that was for in the sewer?
I believe that was the camera trailer.
Camera trailer, which is used for.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This
Sewers and
that-
storm.
Yeah, we split it up. Half of it in water and half of it in sewer, right?
But highway.
So that's the camera camera and trailer we split it up in the budget, water and sewer budget, only because it's used throughout the community. It's used to check drainage throughout the community. It's used for sewer lines throughout the community. The highway department would be using it to check out drainage situations as well, which would include.
Well, but there's line items in here for camera trailer. There's 2 of those. That one says landfill revenue sewer. Doesn't say anything about a camera.
That's what it's for. It's for a camera and trailer.
So that shows both budget entries.
Well, then it should say camera trailer. Shouldn't say sewer.
Well, it's moving the landfill revenue to the sewer portion, like the cash portion, and then it's going from the cash to the line item for the trailer, the camera trailer. So it's just showing the entry to go from the A fund to the sewer fund, so the general fund to the sewer fund, and then utilizing it once it gets into the sewer fund for the camera trailer. It's not,
Well,
it's specified the next
still
line
think-
down.
I made my statement. I think it shouldn't be going into sewer at all, because there's a lot of folks in this town that don't benefit from sewer.
Well, and I don't disagree with you in the fact that, but
And if
it's a camera.
If it's just a moving around the money, then it ought to be a little bit clearer how we're moving around the money, and that's not clear at all, because it doesn't say anything about the cameras.
That's exactly what it's for, though. But
Well, it doesn't say that.
okay,
So,
we can put that in there under line item A599. Let's put that. It's
So,
camera.
you can write it on there, but for the the comptrollers, when I spoke to them for the auditors, they wanted me to put it as there because it's going, that's how they asked me to list it out. So it's going from where it's coming in from, it's going to transfer to other funds, that's what it's called in your budget, is transfer to other funds. And then the 5031 is interfund transfer from A, because it's receiving it. And then the line G8197.0 is camera trailer line.
That's not the one I'm talking about.
You're talking about the one up above it, the
Correct.
A599.
Correct.
So that's where the landfill revenue comes in.
I understand, it goes into sewer, and then sewer takes it and transfers it somewhere else into camera trailers.
Correct, so I had to list landfill revenue, because that's the line name. And then A9901 is transferred to other funds. If you look in your budget, that's what they say. I just put the dash landfill revenue dash sewer, because that's the one that I was working on, and that is the next entry, the G, that's in the same box, like right below it. So it's just to keep it kind of lumped together, so you guys can see that it's lumped together.
Well, why
Sewer goes
wouldn't
with sewer.
J5031 be 106,000?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The one right below it, interfund transfer from A, camera trailer, be 106,000. Why do you have 53, 53, and then down at the bottom you have another 53?
Because I'm taking 53 out of the general fund, and I'm putting 53 into the sewer fund.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, you're taking it out of, this is all 1.9 million of landfill money.
It goes into the general fund, yes.
Correct.
it's-
Well, why are you moving it there and then moving it, and then moving it here? Why aren't you just moving it to one from the general fund to pay for whoever's buying the camera trail? Sounds like water.
It is one, but you have to do the entries to show that you're taking it into one spot,
Right?
like a bank account. You're taking it into this account, then you're writing a check to go to somebody else. They're receiving it, because it's a different bank account.
I understand.
And then that person's moving it from there to the line that it's supposed to go to. So you
Correct.
have to have all those entries as a paper trail.
To follow where the money's going.
Yes,
Confusing people. All right, but I will not be supporting this anyways, because
thank you.
this was taking $1.9 million of landfill money, got thrown over the fence January meeting, and this is just the accounting of that money. I didn't support
Correct.
it then, so I won't be supporting it tonight.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? That's carried 4-1. All right, we have a water meter replacement project. Don't ask me why. Seeker review for water meters. These are all the hoops that we have to jump through when you get grants. So we're going to jump through this hoop. Rhonda or Pat, is there anything? I mean, you guys.
Well, just that at the January meeting, the board designated itself as the lead agency. Notices went out to the other involved agencies. Those agencies are listed on the second page of the application. And I don't believe we've received any response. So no responses to challenge the board acting as the lead agency, but also no response submitting comments on the environmental impacts itself. So you have the whole application outlining what the project is, and then they've also gone through and prepared the part 2 of the called EAF, Environmental Assessment Form. So the part 2 has been submitted, and there are a few impacts. I don't know if you want to address those, address the impacts that have been identified for the board.
So there, in the resolution, because you guys received this whole packet from Mike. So you'll see in the resolution, it wasn't anything major. We really, our planning team had to address some of the questions that were coming in, but most people that the information was sent out for understood that this is replacement of water meters in people's homes or small businesses. So.
So we okay?
So we're okay. I did just want to point out that through the review, there is, if you go 4 pages from the back, if you start at the back and go up 4 pages, there were the areas where some impacts that may arise due to this project.
Impacts on surface water, impact on agricultural, is that what you're referring to?
That's exactly what I'm referring to.
Okay, so note all potential impacts that have been identified in the full EFF Part 2 impacts have been described in this document. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands on the surface water bodies. Other impacts, the proposed project may involve the replacement of existing water meters. No new services will be installed. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. The proposed action may occur adjacent to a historical or archaeological resource. Okay, so I mean, it's very vague, obviously, but it covers the basis.
But ultimately, you're talking about replacing water meters that are already there, that are going to monitor a water line that's already there. So the impacts, you're not changing much. You're really just improving what's already there. So in that sense, there of course will be the impacts noted, but it's not going to be significant. And this, that's what the determination of environmental significance states, and that is all. The resolution is drafted and prepared for you to be adopted this evening.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion or a resolution I have here. The Town of Seneca Falls Water Metering Improvements Project. The Town of Seneca Falls hereinafter referred to the Town Board is on Tuesday, February 1st, declared its intent to be designated the lead agency for the town project under the provisions of the State Environmental Review Regulations. So this basically, the Alfare Board be resolved that the Town Board does hereby designate itself as the lead agency. Have a motion for this, please?
I make the motion.
Thank you. And a second, please?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? That's carried 5-0. Nick, I'm going to give this to you. You have to sign it, and then you're going to give it to Rhonda, please.
Okay.
And a second related resolution, Town of Seneca Falls Water Remedial Improvement Project, secret resolution determination of environmental significance. Whereas the Town of Seneca Falls Board has determined the above reference action to be a type 1 action pursuant to Part 617 of the State Environmental Review process. Be it finally resolved that the Town Board does hereby make a determination of non-significance on said action, and the Town Supervisor hereby directed to sign the full environmental system form, the negative declaration as evidence of the Town Board determination of environment of non-significance. Have a motion for this, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That's carried 5-0. And the same thing with that, Nikki. And then my paperwork's in here, Rhonda, for the seeker.
Yes.
Right.
I also have a copy here if you prefer further review.
I'll sign yours.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I have a resolution here, whereas the 2016 back truck is ready to be traded in, whereas the back truck will have a $170,000 trade-in value, and whereas the new back truck has been budgeted and approved for the 2022 budget. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor or designee be authorized to sign all necessary documents to complete the trade and the purchase of the back truck. Have a motion for this, please.
Make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Joe on this?
So if we're gonna trade in our old one, are we taking delivery of the new one?
We're gonna take delivery first.
Yes, the board had previously approved the purchase of the back track. This is just specifically approving this trade-in at the value that's been, that they're willing to give.
When's the new one gonna be delivered?
They say by the end of May. I would hope so. Wait, thanks a lot.
Any further questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? That's carried 5-0. Another resolution, emergency shut-off valve hydrant replacement. Whereas the water main along Fall Street failed due to aging infrastructure, which required the addition of shut-off valves and hydrant replacement along parts of Fall Street. Now therefore be resolved, the Seneca Falls Board does authorize a modification of the 2022 budget by adding $170,000 to line F8340.214 and the expenditure line to a change and reflect the emergency shut-off. Have a motion for this, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions here?
So when we started this little project, I think we allocated 50,000?
170.
It's
The first time? 100 the first time?
100?
It's not a little project, but yes.
Well, I mean, it was essentially just downtown Fall Street, right?
At first.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
It was, definitely was never small.
Well, it was just,
Okay.
it was essentially a block, is what we were told. At the time, I thought, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Definitely not a small project.
Small area,
Okay.
okay? All right, so this is on top of that, so we're adding another 170,000.
Correct.
And this is unbudgeted money, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just want to clarify for the record.
But again, the value of shut-off valves that work now is that when there is a leak, and there will be leaks on 100 millijoule pipes, there will be leaks. And now you can shut them off in different locations, and you don't have to shut the whole system down like we did. And water will continue to flow, and we won't be in a boil water advisory for 3 days, et cetera, et cetera.
That could still happen, but
Yeah.
chances are not.
Anything can happen. What are you, an attorney too? Engineers?
So is this just meant to be kind of a reserve to, I mean, is there a specific area that's being targeted with this money, additional monies?
Where it's coming from?
No.
We just finished it all, State Street, Fall Street, Veterans Bridge, and we're gonna have 2 valves put in on Garden Street by Meadow.
That's kind of what I meant, so it wasn't being spent on specific.
Unfortunately, most of it's been spent already, unfortunately.
Most of it's spent and most of it's done, we just have to do the 2 6-inch valves on Garden Street and the Asphalt Restoration.
So my assumption, we're gonna get that invoice in May, right?
I got, yes,
So does that mean the total project is 270, right?
yes.
Correct.
Okay.
And shouldn't we approve these expenditures before the work is done? I
Well,
mean,
they-
all of these that he just articulated were all emergencies?
Correct.
I guess I wasn't aware of that. I was aware of Fall Street, and the board approved that to go ahead. I was not aware of all these others that we just listed.
Okay.
You know, we can always call a quick little meeting to approve these expenditures rather than spend the money and then ask for.
Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried. Have a resolution here from Parks and Recreation, purchase new grasshopper mowers. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls Community Center has budgeted $26,000 for the 2 mowers.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Missy? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Another resolution from Parks and Recreation, the Academy Square Monument fence is deteriorating in great need. Whereas the town of Seneca Falls budgeted amount of $7,000 to restore it, therefore be it resolved, the town board approve Ryan Restoration to complete the work. So moved. Thank you. Any questions for Missy? And that will be done by Memorial Day, right?
So this,
Pardon?
they're planning on it, yes.
When's he gonna
Boy,
start?
I mean, a lot of big
Well,
answers.
after we're
Hopefully,
done.
maybe, in this particular case, you might want to do
Now that
this,
it's
it's
been
okay to do
approved,
this,
we
but
can
just
tell
want to
them
do
to
that.
go ahead.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? So carried.
So maybe
I have a resolution from the Seneca Falls Police Department. Motion hereby make a motion to regretfully accept the resignation of Logan Fleming, from the position of police officer with Seneca Falls effective March 30th. I would like to make this motion to accept with regret the resignation of Officer Logan Fleming. Can I have a second for that, please?
Second.
Any questions? I think Stu explained the situation. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Opposed. Okay. These next resolutions, I'm not going to read them. Basically, as I mentioned in my at the beginning, this gets us involved officially with the Clean Energy Community 2.0 type of thing. The first resolution is adoption of the New York State Unified Solar Permit. This has nothing to do with what we've done with planning and zoning. That was geared for commercial operations. This is for residential operations. So if you want to put solar panels on your house, or if you want to heat your pool with a solar panel, you would come in and get this permit from the zoning officer. We have the New York State permit that's used statewide, and then there's some checklists that Peter would take a look at in the middle of the project, and then when it's completed, to make sure it's following the regulations of the permit.
Make a motion that we enter into that.
Thank you. Have a second for that, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Do you need this?
Yes.
And the second resolution related to this, establishing energy benchmarking requirements for certain municipal buildings. Again, it goes along with this program that we're trying to build points for to get as much money as we possibly can to help our community become a clean energy community. Whereas the buildings are the single largest user of energy in the state of New York, the poorest performing buildings typically use several times the energy of the highest performing buildings for the exact same building, et cetera, et cetera. What this would do would be, we would be monitoring gas use and electricity use in all of our municipal buildings, basically starting a database. It's not that complicated. We will handle that internally type of thing. It goes back, I believe, 2 years, Ron, or 3 years of data, and then moving forward month by month, put it into the spreadsheet and send it on, and then with that data, they make recommendations with money, hopefully funding, to do renovate or to do improvements for green energy.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? So carried.
Mike, if I may add one thing.
You can always add.
Okay, so I just wanted to share that the first level for clean energy communities, because we had these actions this evening, have been met. So that first tier is $5,000 that we can work through after we get this documentation in. I'll be working with staff on, as Mike said, the previous 2 years of bills, and a portal will be set up that then staff can use moving forward. So more information to come. As Mike said, this program continues to build on itself and have more dollars tied to it. So I just kind of wanted to say thank you for supporting these efforts, because you are making money off of it as well as doing some good for the environment. So bravo.
Thank you, Amanda. We have a recommendation from Barton LaJudas and Peter for the waste treatment plant toxic unloading tank. That just came in very late today, right, Peter?
We had a bid opening yesterday.
Yesterday.
So we bid out, bid opening yesterday. We just needed time to typically process and make sure that we got it done. And for this particular one, the numbers came in very high.
Do we need a motion to accept that bid, Peter?
Yeah.
So I would like to make a motion that we accept the lowest bid for the caustic tank concrete work, which is slip form, and
What was the amount?
14,000.
129,000.
29,400, they were the low bidder. The next lowest bidder was $265,000.
Yeah, I was here to listen to that.
Okay.
There was one over 400, wasn't there?
It was, yeah. So we actually, there's 5 bidders, which is good. You always like to have competitive bids. 2 of them, one was at the pre-bid, one was just an unsolicited bid. They pulled it, so I had not looked at that company. 3 companies that we had made sure with the pre-bid have all done work in Seneca Falls. Concrete Slip Form is the firm currently doing the work in the sidewalk project. I think I've heard nothing but good things about them, so.
And we have nothing but, I know Matt was very happy, and Jim's very happy with the work they've done so far.
And I reached out, just, they were nervous, given that they wanted to make sure that they missed nothing. We walked through the project again, and they were comfortable with the bid, so.
I make a motion, we accept the lowest bid for the project. Lowest responsible bid.
A second for that, please? I will second that. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. What's the timeline on that, Peter, do you know?
I will reach out to them tomorrow. Typically, there's a bonds insurance. Once that they submit bonds insurance, they can tap. We've got contract book that's about that thick. Then there's a notice to proceed. They are in the process of mobilizing to kind of finish up the next stop. So part of the bid was really incumbent upon them having personnel in town to be able to do it. So I would imagine we're typically 30 days. I'd like to think we get it done quicker. It really depends on how quickly they can turn around their submittal stuff.
And the equalization tank will be done in about, what, 15, 20 days, probably?
Not quite. That's a different animal, so.
I mentioned Matt Schooley. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Phase 2 sidewalk program was completed. There was additional funds that were unused, came under the budget. In the initial Phase 2 sidewalk design, there was a path. There's a path between the middle school, high school, and Frank Knight School. And in the original Phase 2 design, that path was supposed to be paved with lighting, et cetera, et cetera. That put the project over the budget, and so we took that out in conjunction with the school district. And now we have some excess funds that have to be used, obviously, for the project. You can't put it in the bank. So they are going to do work on, they started to work on the path. It won't be as elaborate as it was, but they've removed some trees already, because you got to meet that magic deadline of March 31st, to not have any green-eyed yellow bats flying around. And it'll be a stone base path, but at least it provides the function of connecting the 2 buildings in a safe way. Because a lot of the high school, middle school kids use the Frank Knight School, especially this time of the year, for practice field, et cetera.
Softball. That's the varsity softball field is over there. And that path will greatly improve getting there, because that path is very wet.
They are going to black that.
Yeah.
Is there another shoe that's going to drop, or you're good with it?
No. It's
No,
all overdue.
Okay.
That's all. Well, that's the fall.
Okay, I don't know if I've said that before, mentioned that before, but that's happening, okay?
Jim just mentioned it's gonna be blacktop.
It is, they are blacktop.
Well, they are going to blacktop it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, good.
Yeah, fine.
Good.
Yeah. So the pipe is contracted out.
Really?
Subbed out, yeah.
There's enough money.
Yep.
Matt must have sharpened his pencil on that one.
Told them to.
Okay. We have some credits, water credits. I need a motion to accept or to provide the credits for the only one this month. Can I have a motion to pay the credit, please?
I
Or
make
to
the
provide the
motion.
credit. Thank you. Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Again, I'll keep reminding people that once the water meter project is fixed or replaced, a lot of these credits will go away, because the water department office will be able to tell immediately there's a leak, there's something wrong, and, you know, then we can address it right away.
Bless you.
Any other new business for this board? Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I make the motion.
Second for that, please.
I'll second.
All in favor of paying the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Folks, thanks for coming. Have a great evening.